Track circuit is a train detection device consisting of a simple electrical circuit in which running rails form part of the circuits of a given portion of a track. Track circuit is used to detect the presence or absence of a train on a given portion of a track. Each such portion is electrically isolated from adjacent track with the help of insulated rail joints. Applications of track circuit. Let us know the different applications of a track circuit. Track circuit is used to indicate whether a given portion of track is clear or occupied. It is used to take off signals. It is also used to put back signals to on. Apart from these, there are several other applications like route release, overlap release, track locking, fouling mark protection, block release, speed checking, direction proving, calling on signal initiation, automatic signaling, LC gate warning, IBS, LVCD, BPAC, etc. DC track circuits. DC voltage power source is used for DC track circuit. DC track circuits are of two types. They are open track circuit and closed track circuit. Closed track circuit is further classified into double rail track circuit, which is used in non-RE area, single rail track circuit, which is used in RE area, open track circuit. In an open track circuit, the track relay is always in de-energized condition. The track portion shows unoccupied, that is clear. When the train enters into this portion of track, the circuit is completed through wheel and axle of the train and the track relay picks up. Advantages and disadvantages of open track circuit. Open track circuit saves power and also it can be used for approach lighting or approach warning. On other side, any failure or disconnection in the open track circuit remain undetected, which is unsafe. Open track circuits are now obsolete. Closed track circuit. In a closed track circuit, the track relay is always in the energized condition. When there is no train or vehicle in a given portion of the track, it shows unoccupied. When any train or vehicle enter the given portion, it shows occupied. When the train enters into this portion of track, the track circuit gets shunted and the track relay drops. Track relay back contacts are made. That is, the track circuited portion is occupied by a train or vehicle. The advantages of closed track circuit are Any failure or disconnection in the circuit results in a failure of track circuit, which is safe side. Hence, only closed track circuits are being installed. In this module, we will consider only closed track circuit. Single rail track circuit. In AC 25 kV RE areas, one rail of the track is used for traction return current. Only one rail is used by S&T for track circuit purpose. Single rail track circuit are provided in RE area. Negative rail is common for both S&T and traction return current. Double rail track circuit. In this type of track circuit, both the rails of a track are used by S&T department for track circuit purpose. It is suitable for non-RE areas. Staggering of polarity. In continuous track circuited areas, number of track circuits are provided, one adjacent to the other as shown on the screen. Staggering of track feed polarity is done, that is, positive and negative track feed of adjacent track circuits are interchanged at block joints. In case of continuous track circuits, if insulated block joints of adjacent track circuit are punctured or damaged, and a train or vehicle occupies a track circuit, it may not drop due to adjacent feed passing onto the occupied track due to insulated rail joint damage. This unsafe condition is avoided by staggering the polarity of adjacent track circuits. By staggering of polarities of adjacent track circuits, in case block joints punctured, then the feed is short-circuited and concerned track relay drop, which is on the safe side. AC track circuits. AC voltage of 50 Hz power source is used for AC track circuit. These track circuits are normally provided in DC electrified areas. A simple diagram of AC track circuit is shown on the screen. Electronic track circuits, that is AFTC. In AFTC, power is fed through a audio frequency unit. Simple diagram of audio frequency track circuit is shown on the screen. Various components used in track circuits are shown on the screen. These are battery, track feed battery charger, track feed resistance, track relay, fuses and terminals, continuity rail bonds, track-led cables, track-led junction box, insulated rail joints and choke B-type. Battery. Depending upon the type of track relay and length of track circuit, number of cells per track circuit are connected up to a maximum of 4 cells. Specification: IRS S 88 by 2004. Functions: to feed the voltage to track circuit. Working voltage is 2.2 volts and the capacity for each cell is 40 Ah or 80 Ah. Track feed battery charger. Depending upon number of cells connected per track circuit, the output voltage is adjusted with the cell selector switch. During distilled water topping, the switch is adjusted to boost. When the battery is fully charged, it is kept in trickle mode. Specification: IRS S89/93. Functions: to charge the battery of a track circuit. Input voltage is 110 volts AC and output voltage is 2 to 8 volts DC and capacity is 5 amperes. Track feed resistance. Track feed resistance is provided at feed end to regulate voltage to the track depending upon the length of track circuit and type of track relay and other parameters. It also prevents direct shorting of battery in case of track circuit portion is occupied by a train. It is adjusted at initial stage of track circuit installation during fail-safe adjustments of a track. Fail-safe adjustments of a track circuit will be discussed separately. Track feed resistance for RE. Specification: DRG number SA 20161-66 by M. Resistance up to 30 ohms and tapping is 2, 4, 8, 16 ohms. Track feed resistance for non-RE up to 15 ohms and tapping is 1, 2, 4, 8 ohms. Function of track relay. A track relay pickup when a track circuit portion is clear. A track relay drop when a track circuited portion occupied by a train. Self-type. For track circuit length up to 100 meters is 9 ohms. For track circuit length above 100 meters is 2.25 ohms. Plug-in type QT2. For track circuit length up to 100 meters is 9 ohms. For track circuit length up to 100 meters is 4 ohms. Track relays used in RE territory are: self-type 9 ohms for any length of track circuit. Plug-in type QTA2 9 ohms for any length of track circuit. Plug-in type QBAT 9 ohms for any length of track circuit. Different type of track relay are used depending upon different track parameters. Shelf type non-AC immunized track relay. Specification: BRS 1659 IRS specification number S54 is used in non-RE section for track circuit length up to 100 meters. Resistance is 9 ohms for track circuit length up to 100 meters. Minimum pickup voltage is 0.33 to 0.44 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 39 to 45 milliamperes. Pickup time is 500 milliseconds and drop away time is 60 milliseconds. AC immunity, nil. Contacts: A. 4 front or back, B. 2 front or back. Shelf type non-AC immunized track relay specification BRS specifications number 1659 IRS specification number S54 is used in non-RE area for track circuit length more than 100 meters. Resistance is 2.25 ohms for track circuit length above 100 meters. Minimum pickup voltage is 0.165 to 0.215 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 78 to 90 milliamperes. Pickup time is 500 milliseconds and drop away time is 60 milliseconds. AC immunity, nil. Contacts: 2 front and 2 front or back. QT2 plug-in type non-AC immunized track relay specification BS specifications number 938, a relay specification number 26/6 used in non-RE for track circuit length up to 100 meters. Resistance is 9 ohms for track circuit length up to 100 meters. Minimum pickup voltage is 1.4 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 140 to 155 milliamperes. Pickup time is 500 milliseconds and drop away time is 60 milliseconds. AC immunity, nil. Contacts: 2 front or 1 back. Plug-in type non-AC immunized track relay specification BRS specification number 938, a relay specifications number 26/6 is used in non-RE for track circuit length above 100 meters. Resistance is 4 ohms for track length above 100 meters. Minimum pickup voltage is 0.5 to 0.515 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 110 to 120 milliamperes. Pickup time is 500 milliseconds and drop away time is 60 milliseconds.
AC immunity nil. Contacts 2 front or 1 back.
Shelf type AC immunized track relay
Specification BRS specifications number 1659, IRS specification number S54,
used in RE for any length of track circuit. Resistance is 9 ohms. Minimum pickup voltage is 0.56 to 0.68 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 66 to 72 milliamperes. Pickup time is 500 milliseconds and drop away time is 60 milliseconds. AC immunity is up to 50 volts.
AC immunity up to 50 volts AC. Contacts A. 4 front or back. B. 2 front or back.
QT-A2 Plug-in type AC immunized track relay.
Specification BRB specifications number 939A 966F2. Relay specification number 27/7.
Used in RE for any length of track circuit. Resistance is 9 ohms. Minimum pickup voltage is 1.38 to 1.40 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 140 to 155 milliseconds. Pickup time is 600 milliseconds and drop away time is 70 milliseconds. AC immunity is up to 50 volts.
AC immunity 50 volts AC. Contacts 2 front, 1 back.
Plug-in tie biased AC immunized track relay.
Specification BRB specifications number 939A 966F2. Relay specifications number 84/88.
Is used in RE for any length of track circuit. Resistance is 9 ohms. Minimum pickup voltage is 1.733 to 1.75 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 140 to 175 milliamperes. Pickup time is 600 milliseconds and drop away time is 70 milliseconds. AC immunity is up to 80 volts.
Contacts 2 front, 2 back.
Plug-in tie biased AC immunized track relay.
Specification BRB specifications number 939A 966F2. Relay specifications number 84/88.
Is used in RE for any length of track circuit. Resistance is 9 ohms. Minimum pickup voltage is 1.733 to 1.75 volts DC. Minimum pickup current is 140 to 175 milliamperes. Pickup time is 600 milliseconds and drop away time is 70 milliseconds. AC immunity is up to 80 volts.
Contacts: 2 front, 2 back.
Fuses and terminals.
Fuses and ARA terminals are provided in the location between cable and equipment, both at feed end and relay end.
They protect the equipment from short circuit and lightning. They also provide isolation for testing and for replacement of defective components during maintenance. 5 amperes non-deteriorating type fuses are used. 8 SWG galvanized iron wires are used to make rail bonds. To fix a pair of bonds at each rail joints, holes are drilled on the rails with a 6.9 mm drill. The bond wire ends are inserted in these holes and channel pins are driven to hold them tight. 2 bonds are used together so as to get lesser bond resistance at the joints. 2 bonds ensure that one of these bonds is always available before maintainer goes for his rounds.
Continuity rail bonds are necessary at all fish plates joints in any track circuit. Since ordinary fish plates and bolted joints themselves cannot give good electrical continuity for a track circuit,
these bonds are not required for welded rails.
Track lead cables.
2 core copper cable of 2.5 square millimeter is provided from location box to
Track lead
junction box. Voltage drop in a track lead cable shall be kept within limits so as to work efficiently on track circuits with minimum power applications. Generally, track feed batteries are kept in location boxes which are very close to track circuits to get better track voltages with minimum applied source. As far as possible, the length of
track lead
cable shall be of minimum length.
Track lead
junction box.
Track lead
junction box is provided near the feed end and relay end and also at intermediate position for connecting
track lead
cables to the rails through flexible wire rope. This enables to take reading of track voltage and current whenever required. It also provides isolation between track and cable or equipment. Insulated rail joint. Two types of these joints are presently in use. Nylon insulated rail joint, glued rail joints. Materials required to make one insulated rail joint are as follows. End post. One number of end post of 10 mm thickness is required for one joint. End posts are available in three sizes of 90 lbs, 52 kg and 60 kg as per the cross section of rails. It is to be inserted in the gap between the two rails where insulated rails joints to be provided. Left-hand side channels. Two numbers of left-hand side channels, liners, are required for one joint. These are available in sizes 90 lbs, 52 kg and 60 kg as per cross section of rail. These are to be placed in the rail web, one each side, that is left side of both sides of a track at each joint between rail and fish plates. Right hand side channel. Two numbers of right hand side channels, liners, are required for one joint. They are available in size 90 lbs, 52 kg and 60 kg as per cross section of rail. They are to be placed in the rail web, one on each side, that is, right hand side of a track at each joint between rail and fish plate. Bushes. 8 numbers nylon bushes are required for one joint. They are all of same size and type. They are to be inserted in the holes of machined fish plates, 4 bushes in each fish plates.
Backing plates.
4 numbers of nylon
Backing plates
are required for one joint. They are available in size of 90 lbs, 52 kg and 60 kg as per size of rails. They are to be placed on the fish plates. After inserting nylon bushes in fish plates, one on each side, that is, left hand and right hand side on both sides of a joint. Fish plate machined. 2 numbers of fish plates are required for one joint. Fish plates are available in size 90 lbs, 52 kg and 60 kg as per cross section of rails. As per number of track sets and number of insulated rail joints, they are to be obtained from Permanent Way, Engineering Department. They are to be chamfered, machined at top and bottom to accommodate side channel plates, liners, and the hole size is to be increased to accommodate nylon bushes. Long bolts. 4 numbers of long bolts and nuts are required for one joint. They are to be obtained from Permanent Way Engineering Department. Glued rail joints. Glued joints are available in two types. G3 L type having 6 bolts, G3 S type having 4 bolts. The joints are fabricated in workshop and transported to the site for insertion in the track. The insulated components like bushes, liners, and end post are fabricated using glass cloth reinforcement and epoxy of an RDSO approved quality with hardener by a hand laying process or pressure molding technique. These are built up layer after layer to achieve sufficient thickness. Generally, end posts are made of 20 layers, liners of 4 layers, and bushes of 5 layers. All the insulated components of the joints are stuck in a place with an adhesive layer, and the bolts are tightened for a permanent setting. Glued joints are to be tested for their emulated resistance before they are inserted. They are to be measured with 100 volts DC measure. The insulation resistance is, in dry condition, not less than 25 mega ohms. In wet condition, not less than 3 kilo ohms. The ballast used on track in the vicinity of these joints shall be cleaned to ensure efficient packing and drainage. Care must be taken to see that the ballast is clear of rail fastenings. The clearance from the underside of rail must not be less than 50 mm. As in the case of standard insulated joints, the metal burns at the ends of rails shall be removed well in time to avoid short-circuiting through them. This work shall be done skillfully, avoiding damage to end posts. Normally, no relative moment occurs between rails and fish plates at these joints. In case failure occurs with separation of rail or fish plate surfaces and relative moment takes place, the damaged joints must be replaced soon. The electrical resistance of the joints does not decrease appreciably for a considerable time even after this separation. Procedure and precautions for inserting insulation rail joint in tracks. Nylon insulated rail joint insulation components are supplied by the S&T department, which have to be inserted in the rail joint when track circuit is being installed and also whenever they get crushed under traffic resulting in insulation failure. Fish plates and nut bolts are supplied by the Civil Engineering Department. These fish plates are milled plain so as to accommodate insulation liners or channels between the rails and fish plates, and holes are made oblong to accommodate nylon bushes. The fish bowls of length 140 mm instead 115 mm to be provided. 4 steel baking plates have to be provided for support over the nylon baking plates held by fish bowls. Prerequisite: nylon insulated rail joint materials required for one joint are as follows: nylon end post 10 mm thickness 1 number, nylon side channel plate lines left hand 2 numbers, nylon side channel plate lines right 2 numbers, nylon baking plates 4 numbers, MS baking plates 4 numbers, nylon bushes 8 numbers. Proper components only shall be used according to the railway weightage, that is 90 R or 52 kg or 60 kg. The rails ends at the insulation joints shall be cut straight, otherwise the nylon end post may break very quickly and joint should be free from creep. All the holes on the rails shall be at the same height. The holes in the rails and in fish plates shall be in correct alignment. Bolts shall not be force driven into the rails. Bolts should not be bent, due to which bushes can get crushed. Rail chairs are replaced by steel bearing plates on one sleeper each, holding rails on either side of the joint. This shall be fixed sufficiently clear of rails ends to avoid short circuit. Dog spikes that hold the bearing plates onto sleepers shall not touch the fish plates. The fish bowls of these joints should not turn, rotate under the traffic. For this, steel baking plates shall be properly bent on the sides to hold the bolt heads and nuts. Packing 4 to 5 sleepers on either side of the block joint shall always be fully packed. Insulation of rail joint has to be provided along with engineering staff. Proper disconnection memo to be obtained from station master on duty before starting the work, and the line must be protected on both sides. Rail joint to be opened by engineering staff only. Insert the end post. Provide left hand and right hand channels on both sides. Place the machined fish plates on both sides. Insert nylon bushes into the fish plates on both the sides. Total 8 bushes. Provide nylon baking plates and onto which provide MS baking plates on the fish plate on both sides of the rail joint. Insert the bolts with ease and provide the nuts and tighten them. Test the insulation to find out any leakage or short circuit. Issue reconnection memo to station master on duty. Train shunt resistance. Train shunt resistance is the highest resistance which, when connected across the track, drops the track relay. To ensure safe working of a track circuit, a higher value of TSR is desirable. In a closed track circuit, the track relay is normally in energized condition and the front contacts are closed. When TSR is connected across the track, track relay drops and its front contact opens. We can connect TSR anywhere between feed end and relay end. For DC track circuit, the minimum permissible TSR value is 0.5 ohms. Drop shunt resistance. Drop shunt resistance is the highest value shunting resistance that can cause the track relay to drop. It is desirable to drop the track relay even with much higher resistance. Pickup shunt resistance.
Once a track relay drops, it takes some minimum voltage for the relay to pick up again.
Pickup shunt resistance is the least value of resistance with which the track relay picks up. Importance of pickup shunt and drop shunt resistance on a closed track circuit. In longer track circuits, sometimes effective shunting by a lighter vehicle may not take place throughout their length. At vulnerable points, the track relay may again pick up momentarily under occupation. This may be due to rusty rails in a portion of track on less frequently used lines. This may also be caused by the drop shunt being of critical value and the ballast condition in the track not being uniform. So, it is necessary that at the time of installation and often during maintenance, the pickup shunt value is also noted for such track circuits. Ballast resistance. Ballast resistance is the combined resistance offered by ballast and sleepers. The ballast resistance acts parallel to track circuit. It is the resulting resistance of all small parallel resistances acting across a track circuit. How does ballast resistance affect relay voltage? When the resulting ballast resistance is high in given track circuit, the leakages through ballast are very less or almost nil. Hence, full voltage applied at track feed will pass through rails without much drop, and thereby track relay gets maximum voltage. That is, the relay voltage is directly proportional to the ballast resistance. So, for better performance of the track circuit, high or infinite value of ballast resistance is desirable. How to measure VF and IF? An approved type of digital multimeter is used to measure VF and IF. Connect multimeter to the disconnecting links terminal as shown on the screen. How to measure VR and IR? An approved type of digital multimeter is used to measure VR and IR. Connect multimeter to the disconnecting link's terminal as shown on the screen. How to calculate ballast resistance? Ballast resistance is equal to average rail voltage by leakage current. Minimum permissible ballast resistance for tracked circuits 2 ohm per kilometer within the station yard, 4 ohm per kilometer outside the station yard. Do's and don'ts. Provide proper drainage throughout the track zone. Keep the ballast clear of rail at least by 50 mm. Provide GFN liners and rubber pad for PSC sleepers in track zone. Rail and bond resistance. Rail and bond resistance is the combined resistance offered by rail and bond. Rail and bond resistance is equal to voltage drop in rail by average track current. Normally, rail and bond resistance does not vary. Rail and bond resistance should be at the rate 1 ohm per kilometer. Relation between train shunt resistance, ballast resistance, relay voltage, relay resistance and regulating resistance. For more details, click on the links given below. RB versus TSR. RB is the combined resistance offered by ballast and sleepers. TSR is the highest resistance which, when connected across the track, can drop the track relay. From the graph given on screen, we can conclude that an increased ballast resistance of a track circuit causes a decrease in train shunt resistance value. VR versus TSR. VR is the track voltage at relay end. TSR is the highest resistance which, when connected across the track, can drop the track relay. From the graph given on screen, we can conclude that an increased track voltage at relay end causes a decrease in train shunt resistance value. RR versus TSR. RR, that is relay resistance, is the resistance offered by relay coil. TSR is the highest resistance which, when connected across the track, can drop the track relay. From the graph given on screen, we can conclude that up to about 40 ohm relay coil resistance has an improving effect on the TSR. Beyond that, if the relay resistance RR is increased, TSR starts falling. RT versus TSR. RT, that is regulating resistance, is the resistance offered by regulating device. TSR is the highest resistance which, when connected across the track, can drop the track relay. From the graph given on screen, we can conclude that, similar to relay resistance increase in regulating resistance RT results in an increase of TSR, but beyond certain a limit it starts decreasing. RB versus VR. RB is the combined resistance offered by ballast and sleepers. VR is the track voltage at relay end. From the graph given on screen, we can conclude that RB, ballast resistance, is directly proportional to VR, relay voltage. RB, VR, TSR. RB is the combined resistance offered by ballast and sleepers. VR is the track voltage at relay end. TSR is the highest resistance which, when connected across the track, can drop the track relay. From the graph given on screen, we can conclude that an increased RB, ballast resistance, of a track circuit causes a decrease in TSR, train shunt resistance, and increase in VR, relay voltage. Length of a track circuit. For more details, click on the links given below. In station yard, maximum length of any track circuit is 670 meters. Outside station yard, maximum length of any track circuit is 1000 meters. In RE area, maximum length of any track circuit using QTA2 relay is 350 or 450 meters. In RE area, maximum length of any track circuit using QB80 relay is 750 meters. Relays. For more details, click on the links given below. For track circuit up to length of 100 meters, shelf type track relay of 9 ohm resistance is used. For track circuit having length more than 100 meters, shelf type track relay of 2.25 ohms resistance is used. For track circuit up to length of 100 meters, plug-in type QT2 relay of 9 ohms resistance is used. For track circuit having length more than 100 meters, plug-in type QT2 relay of 4 ohms resistance is used. In RE area, irrespective of length of track circuit, following relays are used. These are AC immunized 9 ohm relay, QT80 relay of 9 ohms, QB80 relay of 9 ohms. Choke. In RE areas, a choke is to be provided in series with negative rail both at feed end and relay end. Choke enhances the immunity level of track relay. It also blocks AC voltage coming from track to relay. Insulation resistance of PSC sleeper. Insulation resistance between any two inserts of PSC sleeper should not be less than 500 ohms. A sensitive multimeter of not less than 20 kilo ohms per volt resistance of coil is used to measure insulation resistance of PSC sleeper. We make use of 4 inserts, that is A, B, C and D, to measure insulation resistance as shown on the screen. Steps to measure insulation resistance of PSC sleeper. Connect multimeter across inserts A and B. Note the reading. Connect multimeter across inserts A and C. Note the reading. Connect multimeter across inserts A and D. Note the reading. Connect multimeter across inserts B and C. Note the reading. Connect multimeter across inserts B and D. Note the reading. Connect multimeter across inserts C and D. Note the reading. The lowest of these readings will be considered the PSC sleeper resistance. Glued rail joints. Glued joints are inserted by the engineering department as per the requirement. In Indian Railways, 2 types of glued joints are used. G3L type having 6 bolts. G3S type having 4 bolts. Glued joint consists of insulating bush, insulating liner, adhesive layer, fish plate, washer, nut and bolt. Insulation resistance of glued joint. In dry condition, insulation resistance of glued joint should not be less than 25 mega ohms when measuring voltage of 100 volts DC is applied across the joint. In wet condition, insulation resistance of glued joint should not be less than 3 kilo ohms. 100 volts DC measure is used to measure insulation resistance of glued joint. Measurement of insulation resistance of glued joint. Insulation resistance of glued joint can be measured by applying a measure between fish bolt and rail, fish plate and rail. Traction bond. The following bonds are provided in track circuit zones of AC 25 kV RE area. Transverse bond or Z bond, cross bond, structural bond, longitudinal bond. These bonds provide easy path for traction return currents, ensure safe working of the track circuit, ensure safety of working person. Transverse bond. Transverse bonds are provided between negative rails at every block joint. Transfer bond facilitates passing of traction return current ahead from one track circuit to the other. It helps in detecting a block joint, insulated rail joint, failure between the two track circuits. Cross bond. Cross bonds are provided between negative rails of adjacent track. It avoids interference of uninterrupted flow of traction return current with track circuit. Structural bond. Structural bonds are provided in between negative rails and fixed traction structures. Structural bonds are provided between traction mast, traction substation, negative, and negative rail of track. Longitudinal bond. Longitudinal bonds are provided at fish plate rail joints for continuity of traction return current through negative rails. Longitudinal bond need not be provided for welded rail joints. Stray voltage and stray current. In the vicinity of electrical installation such as power station, stray currents are prevalent in the earth. Stray current and stray voltages may prove to be fatal for safe working of DC track circuit. In DC track circuit area, rails are insulated from ground and thereby voltage may develop across the rails and earth. If this voltage is in the favorable direction of track circuit feed end, the same voltage appear at track relay and this may prove to be unsafe. So, before installation of DC-TC, the presence of stray voltage and current are to be checked. For any length of track circuit, stray voltage should not be more than 100 millivolts. For track circuit length less than 100 meters, stray current should not be more than 10 milliamperes. For track circuit length more than 100 meters, stray current should not be more than 100 milliamperes. Measurement of stray current. Connect two suitable types of milliammeters as shown in the diagram and take simultaneous reading at A and B. Record the readings at different periods of time, that is, morning, afternoon, evening, and extend the test for 3 days so that maximum value can be obtained. Measurement of stray voltage. Measure voltage across resistance R at point A and point B as shown in the diagram. Record the readings at different periods of time, that is morning, afternoon, evening, and extend the test for 3 days so that maximum value can be obtained. Remedies if stray current and stray voltage are not within safe permissible limit. Reduce the length of a track circuit. Interchange relay end and feed end, that is, make the direction of feed current opposite to that of stray current. If still problem persists, use different types of train detection devices like axle counter, AFTC, etc. Track circuit arrangement. In RE area, only single rail track circuit is adopted. Negative rail is common for both track circuit negative and traction return current. In non-RE area, double rail track circuit is adopted. Both the rails are used for track circuit. Percentage release of track relay is equal to drop away voltage by pickup voltage. Percentage release of track relay should not be less than 68%. This table consists of all parameters of track circuit for non-RE area. Table consists of all parameters of track socket for RE area shown on the screen. For safe and reliable working of a DC track circuit, it must be ensured that the track relay should drop whenever the track circuited portion is occupied by a train, even under the most adverse conditions like short length track circuit, high speed train, short length train or light engine, rusted rail and wheel surface, etc. Track relay gets its maximum voltage when the feed voltage and ballast resistance are maximum and leakages are minimum. When a train occupies a track circuit, shunting of rails by wheels and axle does not completely disconnect the voltage to the relay. Instead, the wheel and axle provides low resistance path and the relay voltage drops below its rated drop away value and the track relay drops. In order to ensure that in all conditions the track relay drops when a train occupies the track, the following fail-safe adjustments are compulsory. Under maximum ballast resistance and optimum battery voltage, when 0.5 ohms TSR is connected across the track relay shall not assume more than 85% of its rated drop away voltage. Under maximum ballast resistance and optimum battery voltage, when 0.5 ohm TSR is removed from the track, relay shall not assume more than 250% of its rated pickup voltage for self-type relays, 300% of its rated pickup voltage for QT2 or QTA2 relays, 235% of its rated pickup voltage for QBAT relays. Under minimum ballast resistance and minimum battery voltage, track relay shall assume at least 125% of its rated pickup voltage. Fail-safe adjustment procedure. Step 1. Note the rated pickup voltage and rated drop-away voltage of the track relay.
In case RPUV and RDAV are not available on the label of the relay, then calculate these values by using variable resistance and power supply.
Step 2. Calculate 85% of RDAV for all types of relay, 125% of RPUV for all types of relay, 250% of RPUV for STTR, that is self-type relay, 300% of RPUV for QT2 and QTA2 relays, 235% of RPUV for QBAT relays. Step 3. Bring the track relay to feed end location and connect it directly to the track feed, eliminating ballast resistance, rail resistance, and cable loss. Step 4. Connect TSR of 0.5 ohms across the relay. Step 5. Adjust the regulating resistance to attain 85% of rated drop-away voltage. Step 6. Remove TSR and measure the voltage of relay. It shall not be more than 250% of its RPUV for self-type relay, 300% of its RPUV for QT2 or QTA2 relays, 235% of its RPUV for QBAT relays. Step 7. In case it is more than the above value, adjust the same to 250% for self-type relay, 300% for QT2 or QTA2 relay, 235% for QBAT relay by increasing the regulating resistance. If it is less, then do not increase. Step 8. Now, connect track feed and track relay to the track at respective places and measure the relay voltage. Step 9. Under minimum ballast resistance and minimum battery voltage, measure relay voltage. This should not be less than 125% of its rated pickup voltage. If the voltage is less than 125% of its rated pickup voltage, then do not increase the voltage as it may improve with improving ballast resistance. If the safety parameter of fail-safe could not be adjusted properly, then Remedy 1. Reduce the length of a track circuit suitably. Remedy 2. Provide cut section track circuits. Track circuit practices in non-RE area. In non-RE area, double rail track circuits are provided. A typical layout of DC track circuit suitable for non-RE territory is shown on the screen. DC track circuit in RE area. In RE area, single rail track circuits are provided. A typical layout of DC track circuit suitable for RE territory is shown on the screen. In RE area, 4 types of traction bonds are provided between the negative rails for easy path of traction return current. These are longitudinal bond, cross bond, transverse bond, structural bond. The continuity rail bond and thermic weld bond are provided at all fish plate joints for non-welded rails only. Longitudinal bonds are provided at fish plate rail joints for continuity of traction return current through negative rails. Longitudinal bond need not be provided for welded rail joints. Cross bond. Cross bonds are provided between negative rails of adjacent track. Transverse bond. Transverse bonds are provided between negative rails at every block joint. Transverse bond facilitates passing of traction return current from one track circuit to the other. It helps in detecting a block joint failure between the two track circuits. Structural bond. Structural bonds are provided between negative rails and traction structures. Continuity bond. Continuity bonds are provided at every fish plate joint. These bonds are used only for non-welded rails. Bonding practice in point zones. Series bonding. Continuity bonding provided between the rails of track circuit is in series, that is, both positive and negative rails are connected in series. number of block joints are more, making it more reliable. As number of block joints are more, maintenance cost is high and failures are more. Parallel bonding. Continuity bonding provided between tracks is in parallel, that is, both positive rail and negative are connected in parallel. Number of block joints are less compared to series bonding and therefore less reliable. Less number of block joints require less maintenance cost. Series cum parallel bonding. This is the most widely adopted bonding practice in point zone. Positive rails are connected in series and negative rails are connected in parallel. As positive rails are connected in series and negative rails are connected in parallel, number of block joints are less. Provision of track circuit in crossover with derailing switch point zone. Number of block joints are 8. Type of bonding used is positive in series, negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in crossover with sand hump point zone. Number of block joints are 14. Type of bonding used is positive in series and negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in crossover with parallel movement on both sides zone. Number of block joints are 14. Type of bonding used is positive in series and negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in ladder crossover zone. Number of block joints are 12. Type of bonding used is positive in series and negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in diamond crossover zone. Number of block joints are 12. Type of bonding used positive in series and negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in diamond crossover with single slip zone. Number of block joints are 12. Type of bonding used is positive in series and negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in diamond crossover with double slip zone. Number of block joints are 16. Type of bonding used is positive in series and negative in parallel. Provision of track circuit in scissor crossover zone. Number of block joints are 28. Type of bonding used is positive in series and negative in parallel. Fouling protection. In case of track circuit in point zone, the track circuit must extend beyond the fouling mark. While marking the block joint beyond fouling mark, the extra length between wheels or axle bases to the end of buffer or coupling should be taken into consideration. If a train stands within the fouling mark, this will foul the movement of other trains. In such a case, the concerned point zone track circuit shows occupation. The point cannot be operated and the signal leading over the points cannot be taken off. Track circuit beyond signal for replacement. Provide track circuit at least 10 meters ahead of a signal.
This avoids any confusion to a driver of diesel engine where driver may sit in rear.
Dead section in track circuit. Dead section in a track circuit is that portion of a track in which occupation by a vehicle cannot be detected. These are due to the vehicle not shunting the rails of the same track feed polarity or due to staggering of block joints. Examples of dead section. Dead section occurs due to rail ends on crossovers being out of square. Dead section occurs due to level crossing road. Dead section occurs due to bridge or culvert under the track. Precautions to be taken to avoid unsafe condition of traffic over dead sections. Dead sections shall not accommodate a four-wheeler trolley entirely itself without shunting any live portion of track circuit at the same time. Length of dead section shall be less than minimum wheelbase length. If one trolley of 8-wheeler gets entirely accommodated in dead section, the second trolley of the same vehicle shall not go beyond the line portion of that track circuit in either direction. Trap circuit. If dead section is longer than 10.8 meter, a trap circuit shall be provided including control of dead section trap by two other track circuits on either sides. When a train coming from the left is trapped in the dead section, the BTR which has dropped cannot pick up since ATR has already picked up and CT is not yet occupied. Similarly, when the train coming from the right is trapped in the dead section, BTR which has dropped cannot pick up as CTR has already picked up and AT is not yet occupied.
BTR picks up only when the train passes over AT or CT after completely clearing BT and the dead section. Once picked up, it is kept energized through its own front contact till shunts it again by a vehicle.
If the last vehicle of a train gets trapped in the dead section, parting from the train and the front portion goes ahead over the track circuit in advance. This cannot be detected, but this is very unlikely to occur. Also, the vehicle trapped in the dead section of BT cannot be detected at the time of AT or BT failing. Installation of DC track circuit. Use approved types of material such as block joint, relays, choke, cables, battery, charger, etc. Provide insulated rail joint as per SIP, Signal Interlocking Plan. Joints should be square. Avoid staggering of joints. If unavoidable, ensure that the distance between two staggered joints should be less than the minimum wheelbase of the vehicle. Avoid dead sections in between track circuit. If this is not possible, provide trap circuit. Avoid track circuit in level crossing area. Keep the stray voltage and stray current within the specified limits. Provide proper drainage system to avoid waterlogging. Keep the ballast clean and clear of rails, at least by 50 mm.
For track circuit in point zones, provide insulated stretchers, gauge plates and crossing plates as per approved drawings.
Provide anti-tilting and anti-theft arrangement. Ensure that all the relay contacts are equally loaded and spare contacts are utilized. Ensure that fouling is protected when track circuit is provided. Distance between track circuit termination and fouling mark shall not be less than 3 meters. The insulated rail joint shall be at least 1 rail length in advance of a signal. Avoid provision of insulated rail joints at the stock rail joint SRJ. Provide J-type pentrol clips at insulated rail joint sleepers. Ensure that TSR, RB, RR, etc. are within the specified limits. Maintenance and safety checks for DC track circuit. Do the following maintenance and safety checks periodically, viz. Fortnightly or as and when required. Check condition of glued joints or block joints. Check the connections at track feed end and relay end. Check the connections between charger, battery, regulating resistance, choke, TLJB, rails and track relay. All connections must be tight. If necessary, check condition of battery and top up. If necessary, adjust the charging currents and voltages. Check insulation resistance of the tail cable once in 6 months.
Check and measure the relay voltage and ensure that they are within safe limits of fail-safe adjustments.